welcome to Midday Motivation. I am Hope Knowles and I am here to get you motivated. Now, last time we talked about not quitting and I gave you 5 steps to help you not quit, and we did that by way of focus. And focus stood for follow the spirit, have an outstanding outlook, consistency, understanding, and a secured win. And I gave you those steps and showed you how when you apply focus to your life, you're able to not quit when situations and circumstances don't look the way they should. But along with focus also comes resetting. And what resetting is understanding that sometimes you may come to the end of the road with something, or it may be time to try a different directive, or it may be time to go into a different place. And that's what that reset is, because reset goes along with the F, and the F again is follow the spirit. So the spirit may lead you down a certain path based on the time period that you're in your life, but then it may come to a different time period where you need to go down a different path. So let's say that you use focus to secure your dream job. So you followed the Holy Spirit, you had an outstanding outlook, you were consistent, you had understanding, and you secured the win and you got this dream job. And now it's 2 years later and you're still in the same position. There's no room for growth. And if you're not willing to reset, if you're not checking in with God, you may stay stagnant and in that position. Where when maybe the Holy Spirit had you in that position to learn things that you did not know, to grow you and prune you so that he could take you to another level. So that's why you have to make sure you are constantly checking in with God and being willing to reset, because now God may be calling you to a different company, or he may be calling you to start your own business. So while you followed the Holy Spirit to get the job, you may now need to follow the Holy Spirit to leave it and to move on to something bigger and better that God has for you. We also have to apply this to relationships in our life. So many people have toxic relationships in their lives. You know, I'm a firm believer of reason, season, lifetime. Some people are in your life for a specific reason, some are just there for a season, and some are meant to be there for a lifetime. And many times you're holding on to someone who is only supposed to be in your life for a reason or a season, and you're trying to make them a lifetime, but they were never supposed to be it. As you grow and you elevate, everybody is not going to grow and elevate with you. They're not going to do it on the same level as you. Sometimes you simply outgrow. So I remember having a girlfriend and our friendship ended. Nothing happened, but I had been praying and asking God to remove people from my life that were no longer supposed to be in my life. And we grew together. I learned a lot from her. She learned a lot from me. We were good friends. She supported me through some very dark times and vice versa. But I was in a place where I was really starting to grow in my relationship with God and become more serious in my relationship with God. And some of the things that I used to do, I was not comfortable with doing anymore. And I was doing good at overcoming most of those things. So I was trying to cut out cussing, and I was doing good at that and different things in my life. But one thing that I was struggling with was gossiping, because I didn't realize gossiping was a sin initially. And then when I found out it was, I was like, well, let me stop doing this. And so I really wasn't a gossiper with anybody but her. And she was, I got the tea for you, girl, let me tell you this tea. And I would tell her, and then it got to the point where I had stopped doing that. Like, well, let me stop, you know, this God has convicted me, this is not what I want to do. But then she would bring me stuff, girl, I got some tea for you. And I even would tell her, like, okay, I don't want you to do that anymore. Like, I don't even want to know their business. Like, don't even tell me. I'm trying to, you know, not do this, not be this person anymore. But she would still consistently do it. Girl, I got some tea for you. And sometimes I would be like, I don't want to know. And sometimes them old habits will come into play, and I'd be like, girl, what is it? You know, because I was working on myself. I wasn't where I needed to be at that moment. So I was still struggling. And she was one of the people that God removed from my life. And if I had have held on to her, if I had have not been willing to reset, then I may still be in that negative place. There's been so many things that have been blessings that have came forth just in my obedience to God. I can't tie it all to that one thing of not gossiping, but it was the fact that I was willing to be obedient to him in these different areas of my life, which allowed me to grow spiritually. And as I grew spiritually, it opened up opportunities and different things in my life life. And when I look at where I am now and I look at the things that I'm doing now, I couldn't sit here and minister to you. I couldn't go all over the country and minister to people if I was doing those things that I used to do. Like, how horrible would I be as a minister if I'm sitting here and people telling me their business and then I'm calling my girlfriend like, girl, I got some tea for you. No, absolutely not. So even though I loved her dearly and she was one of my closest friends, I thank God that that toxicity was removed. And I pray that she's become better as well. And she's grown in her relationship with Christ and is doing great. But I had to realize that she was in my life for a reason, and she was in my life for a season and not for a lifetime. And sometimes God is going to remove toxic relationships from your life. Also, just because somebody is your family does not mean they have to be in your life. Now, you always want to pray and allow the Holy Spirit to lead and guide you on when to cut somebody out or how you should treat somebody, and with anything that you do in your life. But I've had to come to the realization with some family members that I just simply have to love them from afar. It doesn't mean that I don't love them, but just because we share the same bloodline does not mean we have to be friends. It does not mean we have to be together socially. And I've had to distance myself from them, and I had to let God lead and guide me on that. So you may have to remove even family members from your life or step back and not be as close to them as you were. That also goes into that part of resetting and allowing God to lead and guide you and checking in with him, understanding that everybody is not going to be able to go on this journey with you. And it's important that you don't become complacent or comfortable with where you're at, because we'll like sit back and be like, oh, I'm comfortable, life is great, and it's all wonderful and everything is going perfect in the way that we want it to go. But remember that God is always going to call you to a higher level. So complacency can block you from reaching your destiny and reaching the full potential that God has for you, because he's going to call you to bigger things. He wants us to always be dependent upon him. So if you're always at this even comfortable place, what do you need God for? Think about a skill set that you learn. Like if you're cooking, the first time you learn how to make a dish, you may follow the recipe down to the letter. And then the second time you may look at it, but after you've made that dish a few times, you'll begin to memorize it, put your own tweaks on it, and do it the way you want to, and you don't have to look at that recipe anymore because now you have it set. But if all you're doing is cooking that same dish every day, eventually you're going to get tired of it. You're going to try new things. You're going to do different dishes. Well, God works the same way. He's going to give you a directive. He's going to have you in certain places for certain seasons, because there's things that you need to learn, there's missions that you need to accomplish, but then he's going to move you on to something else. So it's important that you're always checking in with him and that you're willing to reset. And resetting can be uncomfortable sometimes, but it also leads to growth. Remember that his strength is made perfect in our weakness. We are little guys. We have God's spirit, the Holy Spirit, living on the inside of us. God is not mediocre, therefore we should not carry ourselves in a mediocre manner. So don't allow fear to keep you from stepping into an uncomfortable position so that you can step into the destiny and the purpose that God has for you. In order to walk into your purpose, with purpose, on purpose, is going to require you to be uncomfortable sometimes, and that's okay. That's when you just lean on your daddy and be like, okay, Holy Spirit, which way do I go? So even though you're resetting, you're not quitting, because you're going back to that F in focus. And then once God has given you your directive, now you can apply the rest of the focus so that you don't quit that current stage and area that he has you on in life in that moment. Now, if you are new to my channel, I want to ask you to make sure that you hit subscribe, and you can also click that bell, and based on your settings, get a notification every time I post a new video. Give me a thumbs up if this helped you in any way. If you are a loyal subscriber, as always, I thank you and appreciate you for your support, and share this video with those that you think it could help. I love you guys so much. You have a wonderful day. I am Hope Knowles. This has been your midday motivation, and I will see you the next time. Bye.